From Tobacco Republic in Loomis, California, the Loomis Cigar Cartel presents Beyond the Humidor, a cigar podcast for the rest of us. Well, welcome to the show. We're sans one today. Daddy decided to go to Vegas and left us in charge.
Don't ever say
that. Don't ever call him Daddy again.
Jeez. I mean, at least not in our presence.
No, definitely not. Greg Perry here, along with my two cohorts instead of three. Larry and Gorilla are joining us tonight, and we got an interesting, if not angry, show for you.
Oh.
Here we go.
Here we go. So, Larry, I'll start with you. How is everything going?
Not bad for the start of the week. A little rocky, but, we survived Thanksgiving, so,
Good.
All uphill from there.
I know you've told that story before on the show, but I know your wife had something special. Did you hang out with the grandkids?
Oh, yeah, we had all the kids were over. Gorilla, wandered over from the enclosure. Both his brothers are over, grandkids. It was fairly boring and uneventful. Just the way I like it.
I entirely agree. That's how holidays should be. Gorilla, how are you?
Not bad. Not bad. Gorilla is reaching completion at moving into the Gorilla enclosure, the new enclosure. First thing I did was take a shit so big I broke the septic system. So, nothing but sunshine and rainbows in Gorilla Land. It's either that or
he ain't lying.
I mean, it's either that or the thing was 12 years old and it just broke. But one of those is funnier than the other. So
what the hell are you feeding the gorilla?
I don't feed him. He forages on his own.
Wow. Well, Scott decided to go to Vegas for Thanksgiving and left us in charge. Poor Scott.
Put it all on red.
Yeah, why not? Red or black? Pick one.
Well, I was going to say put it all on black, but that seemed a little racist.
It's Scott. He don't think jokes like that. I mean, I did send you the purple and black crayon video. Mm. So, it's a light show today. There is a bit of an angry rant coming, but it's cigar related. And we did get a little bit of fan mail we got to talk about.
Oh, there we go.
We did. So let me get my cigar lit. So while we're doing that, can I put you on the spot on what you're smoking?
Yeah, you can, actually, because I got it pulled up here so I could read about it. Tonight, I have the Pichardo Classico Sumatra in Toro. One of my favorite Sumatra cigars. Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper and a Nicaraguan binder and filler. These came out, this particular one, not too long ago, 2001. I try to rotate one of these into the mix every couple of weeks, and I really like these. Really smooth, just a little bit of a spice to it, but not too bad. So if you've been stuck on milder cigars and you're just trying to, step forward a little bit to something that's a little more full-bodied. This is kind of medium to full, I would say. Mm-hmm. This would be a good stepping stone for you. Nice. It goes good with a beer or with a soda or coffee. Just about anything.
Yeah, it's that actually. When that one came out, it was one of my favorite for Sumatra because that's one of my favorite leaves and go-tos. Gorilla, what's on the Gorilla palette tonight? I know you got a handful there.
I got a handful. I didn't finish my pre-show cigar, so I'm finishing up. This is one of those, I don't know what the official name of it, but it's those little LFDs, the little,
okay.
I don't know what you would call this size.
Petite Corona?
Yeah, the Petite Coronas. I don't even know that it has a proper name off the top of my head.
I don't know if it does either. I know it's a
LFD banded Petite Corona.
It's a red label if you all want to look for
label. It's... I don't know why. The last couple times I've been in here, I've gravitated toward the little Petite Coronas or the Cigarillos that are in the end of the table there in the humidor. Either the little Rocky Patel Cigarillos or the Petite Coronas that LFD has. I don't know why. They're just nice.
Well, it's also interesting to see, because I've known you your whole smoking career, basically. It's interesting to see you gravitate toward an LFD because those, aside from, that one's not, but typically those are powerhouse cigars.
I think that's why I like these little ones. I don't think I've smoked any of the bigger LFD stuff, but these are nice as a pre-show, sitting here chatting with the people hanging out till closing time. So As far as what I'm going to light up next, I haven't decided. I have an Illusion
Holy Lance,
and the Habana Viejas that I like. So we'll see. We'll see which one we pick. I specifically asked Landon, the proprietor, and his grandchild, the two fabulous employees here. I did ask for those Son Reals that your brother gave me a few weeks back or a month ago. Yeah, they're gone. I missed the boat.
all of them.
They're gone. I specifically asked Landon, and he's like, they were here, and nope, something else is in that box now. It's like, shit.
Holy hell!
God damn it. Word got out. So
Yeah.
I'm glad I got one before they were gone because it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Well, the proprietor, I asked him, what should I smoke for the show tonight? And it's a different line that I'm used to. It's actually, if you remember back from a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, we had a show talking about the last czar because that factory unfortunately caught fire and it was very bad.
Do we have an update? How many thousands of them do you own now?
A lot.
Okay.
I don't know.
We stopped counting.
Next show, I will go ahead and do an inventory and count, and we'll discuss that on the next show. Look forward to that because it's a lot.
Or not.
But this is the Freud Cigar Company. It is actually, the picture on the band is Sigmund Freud. As you all know, that he's the famous psychiatrist that invented psychoanalysis. He was a very avid cigar smoker for over 50 years. He used it as, quite poignantly, as a way to distract himself from the world and life and enjoy that good cigar. So it's a great way. I think I agree with him on that. This is the Super Ego. It is a Lonsdale. And if you will allow me to quote from the Google, it is a medium-bodied cigar. It is, in this case, it is a Lonsdale 6.5 by 42. It's a really good stick. It is a Ecuadorian Corojo wrapper on a Sumatran binder and a filler that includes Jalapa-grown Seco from Nicaragua and Dominican-grown Criollo 98.
Oh, wow.
The only drawback I have, which is why I don't smoke them very often, but this was my Christmas gift, so thank you, proprietor. They're a little expensive. But they are, one of the biggest things is the fellow that owns this company partnered with a gentleman. His last name is Torres. He's one of the former reps from Davidoff. So high quality cigar. And in fact, I also found out from the proprietor that Eladio Diaz, who was one of the blenders for Davidoff, has gone to work for the Freud Cigar Company to blend a couple of their other lines that are out. It does retail for quite a bit. But so far, first puff on initial light up, it's a nice, smooth cigar. Obviously, I couldn't get a Lanceros. The Lonsdale is the closest we can get. And, there's more to come on that in a bit as I get through it.
Nice.
But
so are we doing news? Or are we doing...
Yeah, do we want to end on an angry note or end on a lighter note?
Let's end on the angry note today. I actually failed to prepare cigar news for this show, so we will rack your all's brain as we get close to Christmas, because this show is the second day of December, and so this comes from Nathan S. From El Campo, Texas, another Texas email. Nathan says, I am relatively new to the podcast, but really enjoy your banter, rants, and everyday bullshit.
You'll get over it quickly.
Yeah. This past weekend, my phone broke and I had to get it repaired. So after a stressful morning of dealing with a bunch of AT&T idiots, where is Scott? We need him.
Damn it. Damn it, boy.
And one guy who knew what the hell he was doing, I went and had lunch at my favorite Chinese restaurant and then headed to Joseph's Coffee Shop in Richmond, Texas. They have a nice walk-in humidor. The woman working made a couple of recommendations, and I went with a cigar I hadn't tried yet, Wygera by J.C. Newman Cigar Company.
I've had that. That's a decent cigar.
Okay, that goes into a question he had later on that. I paid for a stick, ordered myself a hazelnut latte.
All right, continue.
Yeah, we'll leave that alone. Sorry, Nathan. Took my seat and started enjoying the oddly shaped cigar. I know this cigar. I've never smoked it, and it is a bit. I would almost say it's a Pyramide Perfecto, realistically, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what you call it.
Box press Perfecto, maybe. I found it to be nice, full flavored without being overpowering. He did send me a reply email that says he actually says it's a medium body, and you've smoked it, so
yeah, medium. It's funny with those box press, and this, if you've listened to the podcast at all, I'm not a huge box press fan. I do have some box press that I smoke.
That's just a not texture, but a feel in the hand thing for you, or
honestly, no. I mean, yeah, I think a cigar should be round, but also I think a lot of the box press end up being too tight, and because of the shape on this one, I've had more than a few that are a really hard draw.
That's fair.
And that to me is the worst thing in a cigar. If I have to fight the draw on it, that just pisses me off. And that cigar, because of the box press and the odd shape, I think makes that kind of lends itself to you having that problem more often than not. So
I tend to agree with you. Box pressed vitolas, it's a 50-50 mix, but where you get into box pressed torpedoes or box pressed Paramides or Perfectos, where it's the point, I find that in general, even in a regular round vitola, you tend to fight those more because as you're smoking it, and for those of you that bite your cigar, or like I don't, but I hold it with my lips, you end up compressing the end, and it gets tighter and tighter as you go, and it becomes an unpleasant smoke.
And then you can start off bad with those because depending on how you're cutting them, you can overcut them, and then it starts to unwrap on you. So, yeah, that's just, you got to be careful with those kind of all the way around. And that's honestly a lot of the time I don't want to put that much effort into it. So,
yeah,
just give me a traditional.
Yep. So he goes on, nice pepper flavor on the front end, then some tasty earth tones on the back. I'd like to hear your all guys' opinion if you haven't reviewed it already. We haven't, so that is something we'll look into. Anyway, to continue my tale, two gentlemen came in shortly after I started the smoke. They ordered their coffees and then asked about my cigar. They sat down, and from where we had a nice conversation that was unencumbered by technology. They weren't smoking, just enjoying a couple of cups of coffee and engaging in conversation. And I think we'd all agree that is one of the best things about a cigar in general, is it promotes conversation.
Absolutely. Well, and it's funny because it's a completely different scenario than from where we are in California, because there's no opportunity really for us out here in this state to go have a cigar anywhere but a cigar lounge.
Yeah.
Because you can't smoke anyplace else. So that was an interesting point right there where, somebody came in to have a coffee. When he said coffee shop with a humidor, I was already like, okay, that's weird.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's cool, but it's weird, because being from out here, we're not used to that. So, yeah, definitely. It definitely promotes, a conversation. And that would be kind of nice if we were able to do stuff like that, where you could go into some place that served alcohol that wasn't primarily for cigars, that they kind of had both, or served coffees, I don't know about the hazelnut latte. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt on that one. But, cigars always seem to draw out a conversation.
Yeah. It was a long story just to say this one reason why I enjoy cigars. It allows you to put down the screen and make human connections through normal conversation. Sorry if this is a bit lengthy, but I wanted to share it with you fellas. I also recently started listening to the Best Care Anywhere podcast. Started on episode 1, so I have some catching up to do. I do enjoy that podcast too. That's
Thank
it.
you.
So I'll just say, God bless y'all. May your ashes always be long. Well, we hope so. And Nathan, we appreciate the email. Thank you.
That's awesome, man. Thanks for reaching out.
For those of you that do wish to email and want to talk with us, please send us an email at info@lumascigarcartel.com. So, and now that Scott is texting me and talking about robot dogs,
Rich,
I lost my article.
He knows we're recording the show.
No kidding.
He's probably drinking.
Yeah, it's Vegas. He's definitely drinking Capareñas at the Fuente Lounge, Casa Fuente, in Caesar's Palace.
God bless him.
Okay. Now let's bring on Angry Rant.
Here we go.
The state of California loves to do lists. So I found this article. It comes from Half Wheel. It is posted on our website if you wish to read the article in full. Go to LoomisCigarCartel.com, click on the news section. I have a link to the Half Wheel article, giving credit where credit's due. They wrote it. I did not. So this summer, the California legislature passed Assembly Bill AB 3218. It's a law that hopes to stop the sale of most flavored tobacco in California.
Excuse me.
Pause real quick. Is this the same law that was passed in 2020 and then it had to go back to the voters for approval?
No.
Or is this a new
This is a new
law?
rewritten law.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just want to make sure.
Yeah. So for those of you that do not live in the insanity that we do, the state eliminated all flavored tobacco back in 2020. It actually did go into effect. You cannot buy menthol cigarettes here. You cannot buy flavored cigars here, flavored vape, all that stuff, flavored chew. It's all gone.
Artificially flavored, like the added flavor, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So what this AB 3128 is designed to clear up is the legislature has directed the California Attorney General, who's a crook, to create a list of unflavored tobacco products. If the product is on the list, it's legal to sell in California. If it's not on the list, it's probably illegal to sell. Oh, by the way...
How do they determine who gets on the legal list, Greg?
You know, you mentioned this very well earlier before we started recording the show. It's $1,000 freaking dollars per SKU to get on the legal list.
Not just per company, it's per barcode, per item.
So if they have 5 lines, that's $5,000.
So example I used was apostate would be $8,000 a year for their 8 cigars.
$8,000 right now. As they add lines, which I know is coming, it's even more money. Do you know?
So look at somebody like
Rocky Patel?
Patel or CAO with, 70, 80 lines. Mm-hmm. So they're at $80,000 a year just to put that stuff out.
Yep.
All right. That's...
And the exemption would be if your cigar is a premium tobacco product, which is defined by its wholesale cost.
Yes, minimum $12 wholesale cost. So let's take...
Which means... What, like a $25 cigar for us, the consumer, after the brick and mortar puts their,
spin
their cost of doing business into the price of the cigar.
That'd absolutely be about right. Yeah, you're looking at a $25 minimum cigar, which means, a third, if not half, of the cigars that are currently on the market are not considered premium cigars. It's bullshit. But they tried this list before, Mr. NRA instructor. Mm-hmm. And it has really restricted freedoms in California. Mm-hmm. So,
Yeah, but the difference is, and here's where I will play a tiny bit devil's advocate. I believe in the article it mentions that the flavor ban went to the voters because California has the direct democracy clause where if there's enough pushback, the voters get direct democracy say on legislation.
Yes, they can make a referendum.
It passed 63.8% people were in favor of the ban. I think that's
correct.
Because most people are thinking vape and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I respect that process. Fine. How they're going about choosing what is legal is frustrating to me. Now, if they said, hey, if you have an artificially added flavor after the fact, like the example I always use are the
Acids by Drew Estate?
Acids, but what the chocolate and mint ones. What are those?
Oh, the Java?
The Javas. This is my hazelnut coffee of the cigar world. I really like the Javas. I will probably be using some of my Christmas bonus that my employer graciously gave me today to finally pick up a box because I have actually missed smoking those around this time of year. They're very Christmassy, and I like them. I have no problem with I mean, I do. I wish I could just come in here and buy them off the shelf as opposed to having to try to find them online. Mm-hmm. But democracy is good. We love democracy most of the time.
Well,
but the way, but if it said, hey, you added a flavor that did not exist naturally in the tobacco leaf, that counts as a flavored tobacco product. You're not allowed to sell in California. That sucks. They do the same thing with guns. If your gun does this or doesn't do this, you're not allowed to sell it. Where I have the problem is well, you can sell it if you give us money. That's where it's like, oh, okay.
You had a term for that, didn't you?
Yeah, it's legal bribery. It's a racket.
Yeah.
It's 100% a racket. I'm not a lawyer, by the way, but
no,
it's a racket. It feels like a racket. It feels like something the mob would do. We'll let you operate if you give us money, if you pay us a gratuity.
Yeah.
It's irritating.
Well, and you said something about democracy is great. And yes, I like the referendum thing that we do in the state. However, you know as well as I do that when they put said referendum out, they put their spin on it. Mm-hmm. So what the public hears, because the public is illiterate and fails to read this shit, they hear it, they don't read it.
And like I said, even if they did read it, I think most people are thinking vape and stuff that, and I've even said it for a couple of cigar lines that used to be carried in here. There were a couple of cigar lines in here that their labels straight up like cartoon characters, and it's like, that's weird. Yeah. Something about that feels weird. No kid, we've said this before, no minor is coming into this shop trying to buy a cigar, but it's like, why are you putting Looney Tunes looking characters on your cigar bands? That just feels off. Same with the vape companies that name their shit
Unicorn
Sparkle and shit. You know what you're doing even if you don't admit it publicly. That's fucked up. And I don't blame the average person for thinking vape when that bill comes to mind. Because like we said, cigar smokers are 1% of the population? Yeah, we're the short end of the stick.
That should have been separated out from the beginning. Cigars on one side of the aisle, vape, cigarettes, flavored chewing tobacco, all that stuff. They're completely different types of products. Mm-hmm. And the fact that the FDA, that everybody has lumped all of that together is just asinine. And that's the biggest thing that the lobbyists have fought for years, is trying to separate premium tobacco, cigars and pipe tobacco, from cigarettes and vape and all that other crap.
Yeah.
And Gorilla's 100% spot on. Vape and stuff like that absolutely are targeting their marketing to that younger audience. And, maybe the voters should be allowed to decide, do we want to do something about that or not? But, yeah, 100% agree with you guys that it's either legal or illegal. The pay-to-play clause is freaking ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's just – so does that mean that – are you going to put that in for the vape too? That if we pay, $1,000 a product line or a SKU, we can have our, coconut berry crunch vape, But to me, that's not any more asinine than telling a cigar manufacturer that, oh, you have to pony up money for this product to go to market, and if you do, then it's 100% legal. That's ridiculous.
And to use the parallel we use the gun control laws and stuff. Frustrating, yes, but when I taught my shooting sports classes, whenever we had to discuss the laws and stuff, I always said, hey, look, most people intentions are good. You may not agree with how they go about it. The state legislature of California didn't ban magazines over 10-round capacity because they hate Greg Perry. That wasn't their intention. The intention is they saw things happening. They think they found a way to help limit it. Is it irritating? Does it make it more cumbersome for me to purchase the firearm I want to purchase and the accessories I want to purchase with it? Yes, it's a huge pain in the ass. The difference is they aren't saying, well, we're all for the common good. unless you give us $1,000, then we don't care. It's not like the Springfield Armory is not allowed to sell a 30-round magazine if they pay California a gratuity each year. That's the thing that pisses me off. If they want to say, hey, we want to make tobacco products overall less incentivized toward the younger generation by getting rid of flavored tobacco, yeah, that sucks. That makes it harder for us to get cigars we want to smoke in the state. That's a pain in the ass. It's stupid. It's frustrating. But at the end of the day, okay, cool, we live in a society, blah, blah, blah. It's the $1,000 that pisses me off. It's the we're all for the common good unless it can make us money. Yeah. Like, fuck, that's so irritating to me.
And I can see this going into the future. One, hopefully the organizations such as PCA, Cigar Rights of America, Cigar Smokers of America, ad nauseum, are going to fight this with the same fervor that they fought the bullshit going on with the FDA, which we have so far won. However, oh shit.
However, yourself right out of a positive
yes, I did.
There, huh?
So, but you know, it's one of those where it's like, how in the hell are you going to tell 3 grown-ass adults that sit on this show right this second what I can and can't choose to smoke and what I can and can't choose to buy? No. All you've done is created, as we've seen now, we've raised the tobacco tax in California to an astronomically high price. It's over 50%. So where do most people buy now? Online. Where are most people going to go? Online when this happens. It's not going to change a damn thing. It's just, going to move people away from supporting their local brick and mortar and going to online because they can get what they want. Now, if I put myself in the manufacturer's place, and I am speaking as Greg, one of the hosts of this show, not for any of the manufacturers therefore mentioned. If I was a manufacturer, I would tell California, fuck off, you're not getting my business. I'm not, if I had a line, a portfolio such as Rocky or Arturo Fuente or CAO or CLE or any of, they have large footprints. Piss off, I'm not paying you. And now I've lost a huge market because remember, folks, California is the 5th largest economy in the world. That's a big deal to them. And it's going to be a challenge.
That's why California thinks that they can strong-arm this kind of stuff, is because of the size of our economy, and that they can, what are they going to hold hostage next? Are they going to look at the liquor industry, beer, wine, and spirits, and say that if you're over X amount of proof on your spirits, that now you can't distribute anything that's higher than this? Mm-hmm. Oh, but you can if you pay. It's the same type of thing, and I think it's all horseshit.
Yeah.
But I would not be surprised if we did see something come along as far as regulatory on beer, wine, and spirits, especially based on how fast and how large the craft liquor industry has exploded over the last few years.
Yeah.
We saw craft beer just go crazy in the last 20 years. 20 years ago there were no craft breweries to speak of. Little mom and pop, one-off breweries. Now you can't swing a cat by the tail without hitting 4 of them, in any given direction, any point in time. So, the government moves slowly, but they are figuring out that, hey, this is something we can exploit or extort. Mm-hmm. And that's all it is extortion. They're,
like I said, it's a legal racket. You're not allowed to operate on our turf unless you pay us an indemnity. Yeah. That's literally what they're doing.
And just not the craft beer industry. Look at the development over the last 5 to 7 years of the craft spirit industry.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's faster growing. Craft beers is actually declining a little bit. But the craft spirits has just gone crazy. And that industry is already as regulated, if not more so, than tobacco. So, just moving that, sidestepping that over to alcohol would not be a far stretch of the imagination, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and by the way, California, if you do get this wild idea, since we had it, we expect our royalty checks to show up.
Yeah, there you go.
But, you know, I mean, and my Idaho contingency that watches this program is going to know this already. This state's asinine compared to everybody else. But to show you how asinine it is, our illustrious governor, you all know who he is, even if you don't live in this state, you know him. He banned selling gasoline and diesel-powered cars in 2030 something.
2036.
2036. The one that'll come up before that, sooner than later, is no longer can you have natural gas products in new home construction or buy them to retrofit or replace the current ones you have. No stoves, no water heaters, no heaters, nothing. Electric across the board. How asinine is this when we can't even produce enough fucking electricity to keep the lights on in this state during the summertime?
Yep.
So that's, you know, we've talked to Josh Shabursky several times. In fact, we have to get him back on the program because he's in a new position now. He is the head of the PCA, but I just effed off that thought too. But anyway,
Jesus, man.
it's not a good night for me, but anyway.
It is my hope, to go back to a conversation from a couple episodes ago, it is my hope that the various entities that exist to speak on behalf of the consumers and retailers and the producers of fine tobacco products such as this, it would be my hope that they look at this and go, well, yeah, we have a fucking case here.
Yeah.
That would be my hope.
Actually, thank you. That was my point. You must have been reading my mind. It must be scary to be in there.
Short story.
But no, that's the other thing too, is you as the consumer that watch this program or listen to this program, depending on where you're at and what you're doing, you have a voice. Use it. Call your legislators, call the people that you need to call. Make your voice heard, because that's the way this is supposed to work in this representative republic, even though we all know it doesn't work that way.
And think of the brick and mortar stores in California that are suddenly going to have 2/3 of their inventory illegal.
Right.
Or not illegal, but they can't replenish it.
Well,
cool. You've just murdered a couple hundred businesses in the state.
Yeah. This
overnight.
Tobacco Republic's been around, if not over, almost 30 years.
30 years, yeah.
And it's just like, you're really gonna wipe out half their inventory? It's just not a chance. Well, rant over. But it's just the dumb nation of what we live in.
Well, but and we shouldn't be surprised in this state based on other things that have occurred, as far as, you mentioned the electric vehicles, they want to do away with. I talked to a customer today that is paring down a towing business that's been in the family 40 years. They've already done away with their large semi-wrecker because it's too expensive to operate. They don't get enough large tow business to be able to cover the truck, the insurance, and the specific rider that they have to have for that particular vehicle for a workman's comp. Especially, in California, you can't have a semi-truck that's more than a certain number of years old because it doesn't meet the Air Resources Board requirements. It's illegal to operate in this state, but you can take it to 46 other states and put it to work the same day. That's a little ridiculous. So, the fact that California is making this move with cigars shouldn't be surprising to anybody.
No.
And it should be a concern to anybody that lives in this state is, hey, what's the next thing they're going to do this to?
Yeah. Because
maybe you don't give a shit about cigars. Maybe you watch the podcast, listen to the program to see what stupid shit we're going to say next, which is fine. We appreciate your patronage. But sooner or later, they're going to come across something that,
you do care about.
That is of vital importance to you or the industry you're employed in. So, and pay attention to what's going on.
And even then, the argument for like electric vehicles versus what they're doing cigars, that's not even a one-to-one, because it's like you can do things to incentivize. Progress is good, right? Like we're starting to see the big companies get interested in nuclear power again because they need more power to run these big server farms for AI and other things. So they're investing more into nuclear power safety and looking at, hey, we kind of spooked ourselves in the 80s off this because of, one, the Russians not being able to boil water correctly, and two, one mishap at one nuclear facility in the U.S.
That's 3 Mile Island,
3 Mile
by the way.
Island. So incentivizing, hey, let's approach this again safely. We have the technology to do it. That's good. When you force people, hey, get rid of your affordable vehicle and you now have to buy something that you can't afford, you can't power because your house wasn't built with a, high-speed charger in it. We like we said last episode, the infrastructure isn't there both for the charging of the vehicles and the emergency response when one of those vehicles catches fire or gets in an accident. Progress is good. Progress just for the sake of progress is not. You need to let there's other ways to incentivize it and get it to become the norm other than saying, this is what you're going to do now, whether you like it or not.
Right.
That's a technology thing. But as for the cigar stuff, it's like, why? What?
Well, we didn't end up with 2 cars in every driveway because the government told us we could no longer own a horse.
Yeah.
You have to let it kind of follow its natural flow. Mm-hmm. Having a tax credit for solar panels or a tax credit for, an electric car is incentivizing it. I get that. But like the gorilla said, making it a mandate,
that's just going to piss people off.
Well, but at this point is unrealistic because we don't have the infrastructure to support it. Mm-hmm. We had if you follow the news in Northern California at all, we had a Tesla semi-truck accident up on Highway 80 at the top of the hill of Donner Summit that closed the road for 16 hours because we didn't have anything capable of putting out the damn fire. Mm-hmm. More than, less than a day and a half's journey from there to bring it up there and fight the fire.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of shit, that we kind of have to look at in the grand scheme of things and go, maybe we should pump the brakes on this just a little bit.
And there's something that just dawned on me that I was thinking about this when I read the article originally. There's been something that's been said in California politics for about 15 years. Where California leads, the rest of the country tends to follow. Mm-hmm. So if you're listening to this...
so the rest of the country, yeah.
Yep. If you're all listening to this in states like Idaho, Texas, Kentucky, Georgia, wherever else our friends have been good enough to write in from, laugh all you want, but where California leads, the country will follow. You'll eventually see this in your own home.
And sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it is not.
Yep. I mean, there's a new push. I don't remember if y'all remember from a previous show, many moons ago, we talked about Massachusetts and other states and then other countries instituting a generational smoking ban. Born after a certain date, regardless, you cannot buy tobacco. Mm-hmm. Most places, including the one that actually put it into law and then quickly reversed it, i.e. Kiwi land, New Zealand, they reversed their decisions and have gotten rid of it. Massachusetts is trying this shit again.
This is our third go-around on this.
Third go-around, yep. So
prohibition has never worked.
No.
All you're doing is creating a cottage industry, illegal industry. Mm-hmm. How do you think the Kennedys came to power?
Liquor.
Yeah, we tried it with alcohol. We sort of tried it with, hot take, Nixon and LBJ's war on drugs was a good idea at first, but then it's like, cool, you just turned a whole bunch of people into criminals as opposed to actually doing the things that would actually stop whatever. It's a whole thing. But it's like, when has prohibition ever worked? Like, the war on drugs started, in the late 60s, early 70s? Guess what's still around?
Yeah.
Meth and crack. Like, you didn't do a damn thing. You just...
made it worse,
It's never
really.
worked. And, again, hi, I'm 29.9 years old. I don't fucking know a damn thing. Like, I don't have the answers, but clearly what we're doing isn't working. I don't understand why you think it's going to work with these, but okay. Cool.
True. Now, for those of you that are still listening to this program and haven't turned over to, how about that cigar or something else, y'all know most of us don't read reviews for cigars. And here's my take on that, because I did look up this cigar and did a little research on it beforehand. I cannot get over a flavor profile that was mentioned in the review. It's subconsciously in my head, and it's there.
Oh, yeah? What's that?
So one of the reviews talked about how this cigar has a buttery note to the cigar.
Okay.
I'll go so far as to say the buttery note that they're talking about, my mind is getting off that cigar. Well, actually, let's do an experiment first. Take a puff. Tell me what you think.
Oh, Christ.
He's had his inoculations. It's
Yeah,
fine.
he's fine.
I was talking about you, but
Me? I'm a carrier. Okay. Now, to me, now that you guys have tasted it, I get hot buttered popcorn. That's the overwhelming note that I get.
It's funny because once you said buttery, if you hadn't have said that, I would have probably said creamy, because that's kind of the go-to.
yeah.
But it's fluffier than that.
Yeah.
Which, yeah.
I see it.
And in general, this is not an unpleasant cigar. This is actually a fabulous cigar. And I would definitely think about getting him again, because that note that I'm picking up, the predominant flavor profile, that hot buttered popcorn, it's very pleasant. It is a very creamy, very smooth cigar, well manufactured. It's a great job. This company, the Freud Cigar Company, did a great job with this. So pick one up and check it out. But that's the overwhelming flavor that I get, and it's stuck there.
All right, now that we're on reviews, let me see, where did this one come from?
Oh, God.
Cigar reviews from Fine Tobacco NYC. Flavor and smoke characteristics. Notes of leather combined with honeycomb and cashews linger in the initial draws. As I retrohale, I pick up Bing cherry and flintness.
Flintness?
That's what it says.
Flint?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I don't know what flint
Smoking a
tastes
cigar,
like.
smoking a cigar that tastes like a musket. What the fuck is he doing?
The ash is white and flaky with a straight burn line.
Stop. Has anyone ever reviewed their ash before?
I do when
But
it falls on my shirt and
The
burns hole
ash
in it.
falls like new fallen snow in New England. I'm like, what the fuck?
Thus far, the cigar is falling into the medium-bodied category. Okay, that's about the only thing I just read that I'll agree with.
Right.
This is straight on medium body. Here we go. Second half has more of a sour, bitter profile. I 100% disagree with that. So
Sounds like you burned the end of your cigar, asshat.
So may flip the wrong end. So here, this drives home a point that we've talked about over and over and over again. Every cigar is different to every single person that picks one up and lights it. I can sit here, I can smoke a cigar and review it that I've smoked 250 plus times and tell you what I think about that cigar. And you could be sitting at the other end of the podcast here, listening to us, smoking the same cigar, going, this son of a bitch doesn't have any idea what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Because you're not getting what I'm getting out of it. And it varies so much from person to person. There's so many different variables. What are you drinking with it? What'd you have to eat for lunch? Yeah. And at the end of the day, nobody gives a shit. Find a cigar that you like and smoke it.
Yeah.
If you want a little bit of an idea of, hey, what four assholes that record every 2 weeks think of a certain cigar, then by all means tune in and find out what we think. But at the same time, you may or may not get the same experience out of that cigar.
Yeah.
That's just what it comes down to. This cigar is absolutely not going sour and bitter.
No.
I don't know what the hell the guy's talking about, but still very leathery,
I have never. Okay, we all did this as kids. If you played baseball, you all freaking sucked on one of the tassels that held your baseball gloves together. Everybody did it. Anyone who says they didn't, you're damn lying. Never have I got that flavor out of a cigar, ever, number one. But going on to the Pichardo that you're smoking, the Sumatra Pichardo, when I smoked that cigar, and this is the difference between the two of us, because I smoked that one regularly. I really enjoyed the Luciano lines. That, to me, is a Sumatra wrapper. I'm already expecting earthy, warm notes that come from either cedar or pine, because that's typically what you get in a Sumatra leaf. That's what I get out of it. Now, is that going to be your experience? Probably not. It also plays into the factor of you've been smoking 10 years longer than I have. Mm-hmm. So,
and it's like I've said, it's when I say I get leathery notes from a cigar, I'm not saying I taste leather. I'm getting a scent and a taste that reminds me of the smell of the leatherworking kit I worked on at summer camp. Or if I say it smells like cedar or pine or oak, I'm not chewing on a piece of wood. I'm thinking of, building a camp. Like, it's all subjective based on your
experience,
your olfactory experiences.
Memories.
Yeah. Yep. And again, that goes back to that whole scent and memory are tied like this in the brain.
Right.
So,
well, and it's just interesting to me because I've been smoking a long time, and there are publications and podcasts and whatever that people are making their living out of telling you what to expect when you pick up XYZ stick. And sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't, and it's, again, I've never picked a cigar based on the review.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could sit here and tell you, hey, this cigar I'm smoking reminds me of this one specific day at Camp Pollock where I took the forestry merit badge and cut down a black walnut tree and helped slice it into sheets for furniture. You're going to look at me like I'm a fucking crazy person.
Well, that's generally how we look at you, but yes.
Yeah. It's
all subjective.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those where I don't know. I mean, I'll be honest with you, okay? We've been doing the podcast now for nearly 5 years. I typically, when I'm smoking a cigar, to tell you guys what I think, whether it's right on the show, whether I'm doing a review on Facebook Live or something like that, I avoid reading reviews. I will look up the wrapper binder filler because I've been smoking long enough and been doing the show long enough to know if it says I'm going to get Sumatra or I'm going to get Criollo or Corojo or any of those, I know generally what they're supposed to taste like. However, your mileage may vary. So, I mean, like I say, I don't go on reviews. I will smoke the cigar first, and then I think I'm fair to say this without getting in trouble. I do read the review afterwards. I read halfwheel.com. I read their reviews. Their reviewers tend to smoke and think in similar methodology to the way I do. Your mileage may vary. You might choose a different publication. There are hundreds of them. In fact, probably thousands of them that you can choose to review from. And you find one that has your palette labels, and then you read those reviews because that's what you like. But the reviews, I mean, that was episode 8 of this program. We're at 131 now, reviewing the reviewers, where we all basically said, we don't typically look at reviews until after we're done because it puts a psychosomatic subconscious into your mind of what you expect to taste. So, smoke them. Best way to figure it out, pick one up and smoke it. If you don't like it, smoke it again, which actually brings me up to an interesting point. I read this on Facebook on one of the cigar groups. They were asking, if you don't like a cigar, you buy a cigar your first time, you don't like it, do you give it another try? My opinion is absolutely.
Yep.
Not just one more try, give it a couple more tries, because what you eat, drink, and have done and how stressed you are during the day affects your experience.
Hear that, Tommy? I tried it more than once. God damn it. Those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, it's probably better.
Yes.
Yeah, it's... and that's... typically, I don't buy just one of something either. If I'm out somewhere and I find, I'm at a brick and mortar that I haven't been to before or haven't been to in a while, and they have something that they recommend, I'll pick up 2 or 3 of them. Because if I smoked that first one and really enjoyed it, and I only bought one of them, I'm going to be a little upset. Like, oh man, I'd like to have another one of those. So I do. But if I smoked it and it didn't hit me right, I'm more interested in why. That's when I'll start looking up reviews on something. If I've smoked something and I'm like, yeah, I'm not feeling this. Because I do like you do, Greg. I'll look and see, okay, what's the wrapper, what's the binder filler, and yeah, I've got a general idea of where to expect that cigar is going to fall. But if it doesn't fall there, now I'm interested in, what other people have said about it. What do they think? Okay, Half Wheel didn't think it fell there either. Okay, maybe I'm not crazy. And then let's give it a week or two. Let's fire up another one. If that first one I was smoking in the morning with coffee, then the second go around I'm going to do it a different time of day, with something different with it. But yeah, I won't dump something just based on one try.
Yeah, you can't.
Now I've dumped a couple based on 2 or 3 tries that just not my wheelhouse. It's just for whatever reason. Or there's been a couple of times where the cigar is presented to you that, hey, this is a medium to full, it's this wrapper leaf and it's this filler binder. So again, you've been smoking a while, you got kind of a general idea of what you're going to get out of that cigar. And it totally missed that mark. Okay. It may be something that's way heavier than what I want at that point in time. Or way lighter. So I just kind of, that's not what I was expecting out of that binder filler wrapper is not what I'm getting. So that's just kind of not in my wheelhouse kind of thing. So, that's kind of how it goes.
And I'd be interested as the one youngest member of the podcast, and 2, the least seasoned smoker. What's your input?
I basically don't look at, if I smoke a cigar and I like it, I like it. I'm not looking up reviews afterward. I thought about it at one point, keeping a little black book and making notes, but it's like, I know what I like. I try new stuff fairly regularly, either because of the show or because coming in here and seeing something that's like, the tobacconist handed me something new, or like with those Son Reals. But for the most part, I'll try something again if I didn't like it initially. Even right now, this is the second time I've smoked this Holy Lance. It's a little pepperier than I remember it being from the first time I smoked it. And even just now, you may have seen me on camera kind of take a puff and just kind of sit for a second. I got that, not heartburn, but for a second, my mouth started water like, am I going to throw up?
Little acid reflux.
Little acid reflux and a little bit of nausea. Not because I'm not, the cigar's fine, but it's like, and I sat here for a second, like, was I puffing on it too quick? Did I inhale too much of it? Like, what did I do wrong? But no, for the most part, I have maybe a half dozen cigars I go to, another half dozen that I'm that are like my seconds. And then other than that, it's, oh, cool, that's a new one I'll try. Or, hey, that's on my radar to pick up at some point. You know, it's, and there's others that are ones I've smoked before, like the Java, where it's like, I know I like these, I just need to get my hands on them again. Mm-hmm. So it's, like I said, most of my new cigar adventures are because we smoke something on the show.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely. You know, when we have a rotation, and I think I can speak for Larry too. Our rotations, at least his and mine, are fairly extensive because of the time in smoking. But, you know, there's the gravitated favorites. There's the delusional favorite. And then there's the, I've not seen this before, let's try it. Or like I did today. I walked in, I looked at the proprietor, and I said, I don't know what I want to smoke for the show today. What do you think? Great suggestion.
That's always a good starting point coming in here because, you know, this is what Ron does day in and day out for the last 30 years. So there's only been a couple of times that he's put me into something where I've had to look at him and go, really? Really? You thought I was going to like this? But for the most part, it's Rich, a guy that used to work here long time ago who lives in Costa Rica now. Hope the son of a bitch listens to us in Costa Rica, but probably not.
He does periodically.
Rich had the uncanny ability to provide me the worst possible cigar for my palate at that given point in time. Oh my God. I could almost bet money on the fact that if Rich swore that I was going to love this cigar, I was going to hate this son of a bitch. And he did it to me probably 15, 20 times. Oh, you got to try this. Oh, this is our newest, latest, and greatest. It's fabulous. You're going to love it. And I'm like, I'm a quarter of the way through it going, God, looking for a dry cat turd to get the taste out of my mouth. It's like, what the hell is this guy doing to me?
And it's so interesting that was your experience because he could hit my palate like no one else.
Well, the shitty thing was he could hit mine like that too, but he'd just go, here, you got to try this. And like a moron, you know, over and over again. I'm like, oh, okay, what you got for me, Rich? And I'd be like smoking it going, God.
Fucking Russian roulette.
Yeah. It's like, oh, God, this thing is terrible.
I remember with him one of the nights, I had made enchiladas at home, right? And I brought him up a dish, a plate, and we're sitting up here, and he goes, how long did you eat? I said, 25 minutes ago, before I came up here. And he goes, okay. He goes, we're going to try an experiment. I'm like, uh-huh. So he finishes his meal. At that point in time, this room we're in right now was the humidor. And the other side was the lounge. So he walks in here, picks 2 cigars, takes the band off. He walks out with the darkest, blackest of night cigar I have ever seen, no band on it. Cuts it, toasts it, hand it to me, and I'm looking at him going, you are high. My palate is nowhere near ready for something like this. He goes, you got to trust me here. I said, okay, take a few puffs, light this up, smoke the entire thing. Several times during that time period, I'm like, so what am I smoking? He goes, when you get done. And I'm like, okay, I get all the way done. I got a little tiny nub. I put it down in the ashtray. I'm like, all right, what did I smoke? He goes, you just smoked an LFD digger. And I'm like, you are high. He goes, no. He goes, based on what you ate.
You're going to fly right through.
It worked. That spicy Mexican flavors of the enchilada worked great with the dark, rich, if you'll forgive me, overbearing power of that LaFleur. Mm-hmm. So it was amazing that someone could do that. And there are tobacconists out there that do that and take their advice.
Same thing with Rodney, the pizza guy that used to come in here. Deep dish, heavy meat, greasy pizza, 4 slices of that, and 2 triple Maduros from Christoph. You smoke 2 of their triple Maduros, I don't care what you've done. You are going to feel like you got kicked in the head by a horse about an hour after you finish that second one. That heavy, heavy pizza, 4 slices of that, no problem.
Yeah.
I think the only time I've had a tobacconist intentionally give me something that I was not in my palate was your brother. is when they were pushing the flavored stuff out of the humidor in 2020 in preparation for the ban. And I can't remember the name, but they were the like hippy dippy flavored cigars. Like one was like cloves and spices, which he said, go home, try that, tell me what you think. And I'm like, it's not bad. I don't know that I want to smoke it again, but I don't hate it.
I left it in the ashtray and it cleared the mosquitoes out.
Same company, different flavored cigar. It was when they were repainting the humidor in there and I was helping them out. To cut through the paint fumes, we both smoked the Nag Champa patchouli smelling fucking one. And I'll be honest, the first inch sucked. The middle was, this is not terrible. And by the end, when it starts to get a little bitter and tarrier, a little more bitter and tarry, it started to taste like cloves and baking spice. I'm like, okay, this doesn't suck.
Yeah.
But if you had walked in the middle of both of us smoking that Nag Champa, patchouli incense cigar, you would have gagged and walked out. But we needed something that could cut through the paint fumes. So
it's funny you say that. So we're sitting in the backyard one night. My brother, who is one of the tobacconists here at TR, my buddy Roy, who you've seen on the shows, giant Korean, biggest Korean in the world. And we're sitting in the backyard. We've got this bag of random cigars, and I don't know where they came from, right? So they're smoking in the backyard. I come out to join them, and I reach in the bag, grab this cigar, and it's a little bitty, fat, petite Corona, if you will. It was probably a 45 ring gauge and a 3 or 4 inch cigar. Cut it, light it, 2 puffs in. I'm like, can't do it. Set it down. And then I get well, don't be a pussy. Come on, smoke this freaking cigar. So I pick it up. Huge draw, blow it in Roy's face. His face just turns like he's in pain. He's like, holy hell, what the hell is this? My brother goes, there's no way in hell. So I do it a second time, which was a huge mistake. Blow it in his face. And he's like, oh my God, what is this? I'm like, I don't know. Didn't have the forethought to play Google and scan the ban and figure it out. But the primary flavoring of gin is juniper berries. That was the punch in the face. Like when you spill lavender cleaning solution, you get that obnoxious lavender punch. This was that obnoxious juniper hit. It was unsmokable.
I think that was the third flavor in that line that Craig and I smoked was a lavender cigar, like a lavender infused. And it's like, I'm not, we're just going to skip right over that one.
There is a manufacturer that's insane and makes stuff like that. We won't mention their name, but yeah, if you like weird shit like that, drop us a note. I'll tell you who it is.
I'll try anything once just to see.
You got to experience everything.
If I had given into peer pressure, I would have never tried the Javas. Because, it's the hazelnut coffee of cigars, but...
Well, I used to roll in here once in a while on a Sunday morning, back when Big Eric Hansen was working here, retired highway patrolman.
Angry motherfucker.
Oh, yeah, just meter and a day as long. A hell of a nice guy, but, he just put on his happy face in the morning. And I'd come rolling in, I'd get a Java, and have a cup of coffee, and he goes, expressing our feminine side today, are we? You know what? Fuck you, Eric. But that was how he rolled.
Yeah.
And he was, he smoked chisels.
Day in and day out.
Day out. God. And I mean, I've had them. It's a good cigar, don't get me wrong. But I have to be, A, in the right frame of mind, B, have had the right meal, 3, make sure I've got the seatbelt fastened, because that cigar kicks your ass.
If a chisel is your go-to daily driver, I'm concerned for your mental well-being. You need to dial a hotline or something.
Dude,
that seems not okay.
This is how bad it was.
4 a day that guy'd smoke.
Easy.
Now, tell me you hate yourself without telling me you hate yourself.
Smoke chisels constantly. Well, this is back when. Now we're into telling stories about old days, but it was hilarious. One, I knew I had been accepted in this place when I walk in the door and Hansen's opening. I walk in the door, and before I'm even a step into that door, he looks at me and goes, "The fuck you want?" "Morning to you too, Hansen," and off I go. He was the one that actually got me to stop smoking out of the infused room and go into the big boy humidor.
Yep.
He's like, no, we're done with this. It's time to go around. And he had a very good palate.
Oh, he did.
Cigars.
He didn't venture 3 degrees left or right
of anything
ever.
LFD.
Yeah, no, he was definitely brand loyal to LFD, and he smoked the crap out of chisels. Man, if they ever stop making that cigar, Eric will be at the Forest Hill Bridge, man, ready to go over to the side.
I did that to him one day. We come in one night, and all I have left are like 2 or 3 chisels. Roy buys the last 3, gets a Post-it note, writes, Roy was here with love. Good luck, Eric, and sticks it on the box. The next morning, Hanson's raging now because there's no chisels. Go 2 weeks or so, maybe a week, the shipment comes in, 11 boxes. Hanson does his inventory process, puts them on the shelf. We're all good. I close that night. I take 11 boxes and strategically hide them. He comes in the next morning. First text message I get, where the fuck's all my chisels, fucker? Oh, I sold them. Was Roy here? No, but I sold them all. So I had piecemeal 1 box or 2 back at a time until all 11 showed up again.
A death wish right there,
Yes,
man.
yes.
It's like, again, we've had this conversation before. You know, insert the, I forget the name of the show, but insert that meme here. You know, you do what you like. Live. It says live. But fucking, I don't get people who like the shitting on you for smoking a Java, or the story that comes back to my mind. I can't remember if this is just a regular dude that was telling this story, if it's a comedian doing a bit, but he was explaining like, hey, I got all my buddies together. We were all in town after Thanksgiving, and I had just gotten a really nice bottle of like genuine German peppermint schnapps, and I decided, fuck it, I'll bring the stuff to make peppermint patties. I got this really nice high-dollar bottle. We'll have a good time with my friends. All his friends gave him shit for bringing peppermint schnapps. Oh, you fucking fruit. It's like, fuck you. I bought nice alcohol to share with you guys, and you're shitting on me for it because you want to drink fucking, you know, Coors Banquet like a bunch of white trash hicks. It's like, don't.
There goes our Texas
like,
audience.
Yeah.
But it's like, don't.
Thanks for blowing Texas out of the water, Gorilla.
It's like, fuck, the world's hard enough. Let people enjoy their fucking hazelnut, mocha non-soy fat with foam on, 2 inches of foam on top, and shut the fuck up. Like, let people have their one little thing that gives them some happiness, for God's sake.
I think we touched a nerve.
Yeah, man, Gorilla's on fire. I think his hat's too tight.
No, someone gave me shit because my go-to end of the day drink is like a Jameson Dr. Pepper. Why the fuck do you drink Jameson Dr. Because I like it. Shut the fuck up.
What did you say today? If
I'm gonna get a T-shirt made that says if RFK Jr. outlaws Dr. Pepper, I'm gonna make January 6th look like a Boy Scout jamboree.
There's the millennial in our group, ladies and gentlemen.
There's a couple people out there listening to it. He's got a point.
Yeah. Let's hope it's just a couple.
Mm-hmm.
All 6 of us.
Yeah.
Keeping Dr. Pepper alive.
Mm-hmm.
They, them.
We're like a swarm of bees.
Well, you're about 2/3 of the way down, Larry. How's that going for you?
This is a solid stick, man. It's super consistent as far as the draw, the flavor, leathery, kind of woody, definitely a medium body. Some of the stuff I saw says medium to full. I don't think so. I'm not getting full out of this. And again, I'm just smoking. I'm not drinking anything. No soda, no alcohol, no beer, no coffee, no nothing. But I think this would ride just about with anything you want, with the exception of something super sweet. Might be a little challenging with it, but no, I enjoy this. I got to get this a little more into the rotation as opposed to once every couple of months.
Yeah.
That's the hard thing about coming to a brick and mortar that has a humidor the size of this is you you get overwhelmed. You know, there's so many things like, oh God, I remember I had one of those. Those are good. And then you take one step to the left, and then there's, floor to ceiling. There's 8 more cigars that are like, oh man, those are good. Those are good. Unless you're smoking 15 cigars a day, it's hard to make a rotation through this humidor in any timely manner. So, you just do the best you can, and hope you enjoy everything you pick.
Yep. Gorilla.
I just started this Holy Lance. Probably shouldn't have started because I'm going to be committed to smoking this for the rest of the evening because I'm kind of taking my time with it. But no, it's good. Other than I think what I did is I was trying to retrohale, and I think I inhaled a little bit. And I think that's where I got a little bit of my body was going like, hey, no, don't do that. But it passed, so we're good. But no, the Holy Lance is really good. It starts out a little peppery. Smooths out, gets a little creamy for the rest of the stick. So don't know where the fuck I'm gonna smoke this because I don't think I'm gonna smoke in the Gorilla enclosure.
No, not
when it's a 400 square foot studio that everything I own is in the same room. Probably not the play.
Well, and sitting outside right now to smoke is a bit ridiculous.
I don't mind sitting outside this time of year because when I lived at that place up in Colfax, we had the really, really nice back deck. That was sheltered by pine trees. It got fucking freezing up there, but I'd just bundle up in this, a sweatshirt, and then my Carhartt over top, and just kind of, I kind of miss doing that. I would sit out there with my tablet and watch Netflix or, have a little charcuterie board. It was actually kind of nice. You're right by the railroad tracks up there in Colfax. It was actually kind of cool. I might have to start utilizing the Gorilla enclosures outdoor enrichment area.
Gonna have to talk to your landlord about putting a patio on your enclosure.
No, it's got out the front door. Back when did Mom put that up when Chris and Maddie were there? Yeah, they put. Both siblings have lived in this building. My mom put up a little planter beds with the hog wire fence, so it's kind of divided. I have a little section of the pool deck that's my own. So, and if I want to go sit out in a more natural area, it's got that side yard with the. Is it a mulberry tree?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck.
Fruitless mulberry.
Do you know how many hundreds of fucking mulberries I've tracked into that fucking house in the soles of my boots and shit? Fuck.
Don't care.
Hate mulberry trees.
They're messy, but
if they were just mole trees, they'd be fine. It's the fucking berry part that pisses me off.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'll probably sit outside and finish this up bundled up when I get home. But
my movie theater cigar for hot buttered popcorn has been really an enjoyable stick. I like the flavoring. I mean, yes, predominantly it's that buttery flavor that I'm getting, but it's got some nice earthy undertones too, and it makes a good stick. It's definitely something that, despite the price, will have to go into the rotation.
There you go.
I'm suddenly remembering going back to every once in a while you get a cigar that's just not it. I really like these Habana Viejas, but this is the one where I lit it up in here before a show one day and everything came to a stop because it must have had a rotten spot on a leaf that got missed or something because I lit it up and it was like I was fumigating for roaches in here. No idea. And I grabbed another one immediately after and it was fine. It must have just been something off in one of the shaggy leaves they put at the foot of this or something.
Huh.
So, yeah, just because you have a bad cigar when you try it the first time, give it the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you got the 1 in 1,000 that had a cricket leg rolled in it accidentally or some shit. Who knows?
Nice.
You never know.
Dart frog.
Like we say, there's a natural fucking product. Who knows?
Yeah.
Hey, some of the best cricket legs you've ever had has been smoked through a cigar.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, shall we wind this thing up?
I think so. Gorilla?
Sure, why not?
Take us home, baby.
The Gorilla's going to be 30 the next time we air, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Oh, well,
Neither
wait
do
till you
we.
get to be our age. Well, my cigar is down to the nub. The high-sugared beverage product is not empty, but we'll get there. But thank you guys for listening. On behalf of Larry, Gorilla, myself, and the absent Scott, check us out again. Check us out at LumaCigarCartel.com. Like and share us on Facebook. Check us out on Instagram. We're not shadow banned for now. Scott would say wait for the funky keyboard, but I'm just going to say stay healthy and safe as Scott does, and take care, and we'll see you all soon.